Why is this so? Yo, what's going on, everybody? We are live. The screen is transverse, so I move right and I go that way.
Isn't that how it always is, or no?
I don't think so, no. I think your thing's messed up. We are in Lucas's new house. He just moved in, so I haven't seen it done yet, so I came over here to see it, and he's got a toothbrush on his kitchen table and a book for his child, and he's drinking a Budweiser Select. So glad you guys are joining us. Good to see you. We go live. We used to go live every Thursday from 11:30 to about 12:30 in the morning, but we decided to 11:30 morning to 12:30 in the afternoon, but we decided to switch it to Wednesdays.
We did. I like Wednesdays. A little late. We just got the kids down and we're ready to party with you guys.
Yes, we are ready to party. So what we are going to be doing tonight is we're going to be talking about Lucas's and I's journey from $0 to $11 million in rental assets. So if you have aspirations to have a rental portfolio at some point, or you think it's interesting, or you have a rental portfolio now, definitely stay tuned. We're going to be talking about how we got from 0 to 11 million in about 5-ish years. And then we're also going to talk about the things we learned along the way. We're going to run you year by year what we did and what we didn't do, what we could have done better. So we're going to do all that. But before we do that, I wanted to give you our fancy dancy start. So Fly, let us know where you guys are from. Any questions you have, we are here to answer questions. So let us know where you're from. Rachel, what's up, Rachel? She says she likes a backsplash back there. So let us know where you guys are from. Let us know if you have any questions. We will answer the questions as we're doing the presentation or at the end, but we will get to them, I promise.
Something real quick. My name's not Louis. My name is Lucas, and Sam has these nicknames for every single person in the office. He can't call anybody by their first name. It's unbelievable.
If I call you by your first name, you're probably not going to be around long. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, so my name's not Louis. I'm Lucas. Oh, appreciate you putting that up there.
Just noticed that. Anyways, yes. But so tell us where you guys are from. We'd appreciate it. Put your questions in the chat box. Comment, like, share on this if you're on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to our channel if you haven't. If you're on Facebook, continue to watch there. Like the video, share the video. We'd really appreciate that. And then also comment for sure. So let's give a little bit of a market update. So in our building, we have a house buying company that buys 200 houses a year. We're going to buy about 200 this year. We have a education company, which is this company, FasterFreedom. We educate people on how to grow rental portfolios. We have a traditional brokerage that's going to do about 60 million this year in its second full year. We also have a hard money lending company that usually has about 10 million on the street. And we also have a title company and then our rental portfolios. So that's all in our office. And we have us and Brian have a combined $25 million rental portfolio. So that's what we're talking about tonight, is how Lucas and I have gone from 0 to 11 million in assets in the past 5-ish years. So tell us a little about the market, Lucas. How are leads? How are buys? How's everything going?
Yeah, so for our flipping business, the market's still hot in St. Louis. You got a quality product, go on the market price right, and it's going to sell. So I think pricing it right, the key. Don't try to overshoot everything. Price it right and hopefully get multiple offers and go over asking. And that's what we're going to do this week. We got 3 fresh rehabs going on the market. So we'll have a better, more accurate update next week. But for the most part, we can't keep any good product on the market. So
how long do you think that's going to last? How long do you think the market's going to stay this hot for? Because we talk to people around the country, it's about this hot everywhere around the country for the most part. How long do you think that's going to last?
I'd say a couple more months, maybe a little less. Yeah, I would get as much inventory as you can on the market now, especially before the election, before the winter time, and going, after the winter, usually the spring picks up and it's hot again. But I'm just not as confident that that's going to happen again this year.
There's just so many, before all this COVID and all this stuff, we were pretty confident in the year and pretty confident that we were going to keep rolling for a little while longer. But who knows with all this stimulus money and the election and all this COVID stuff, and who knows? So we are just a little unsure. So we are trying to be as conservative as we can. We're still buying houses. We're still going to rehab houses, but we'll probably do even quicker rehabs if we can going into winter. As far as leads go, leads have been down a little bit. We usually like to have 20 leads a week. I feel like the past 3 to 6 weeks have been in that 15 range. So not horrible, but not where we want to be. They're just, people aren't as motivated to sell their house at a discount right now. So leads have been down a little bit.
I think it's just important important to not get frustrated that the leads are down, and maybe you're not going.
You hear that, buyers?
Maybe you're not going on as many appointments, but don't bend on your fundamentals, because right now is not the time to be overpaying. You know, stick to your fundamentals, buy deep, and we're going to have some awesome opportunities to buy coming up soon.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely still make money. The market's up, down, in between. You just got to be careful and not get over leveraged. So that's definitely important. As far as the rest of the market goes, our rentals are doing pretty good. We had a pretty good August, didn't we?
Yeah. So we normally net cash flow probably 8 to 10 grand on our rental portfolio, and that's because we have a pretty big team and we're completely hands off. And that team can support a lot more rental properties. So we're still growing like crazy, but that's on average. But this past August, we netted $19,000 cash flow in our pockets. We had a great August, and so don't believe everything that you hear on the news that renters aren't paying rent, because they are.
Yeah, there's always going to the couple of tenants we're having issues with are the same ones we had issues with before all this. So it's just one of those things that it just if you communicate with the tenants like we do, and we've had talks on this before, how we collect all the rent we have. So check out our other videos if you haven't. But we talk a lot about how we collect as much rent as we do, even during all this time.
CJ, what's up,
brother? Robert, I just saw you ready for your next rental. I saw that you did that. Robert took our boot camp a couple months ago.
Yeah, and he bought a wholesale rental from our flipping team, and it looked amazing, man. That's a great listing. That'll rent quick.
Awesome. Thanks for saying, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks for saying hi. If you have any questions about real estate investing, feel free to answer them. Luke and I are about to get into our presentation, which we're going to talk about how we went from 0 to 11 million in rental properties in the past 5-ish years. All with no money out of pocket. We're not going to get into that as much, how we utilize the Burr method. We can talk about a little bit if you have questions about it, but we're just going to talk about our journey, what we did well, what we think we could have done better. We're just going to kind of get rolling it. So ask any questions you have, and we will gladly answer them. So our journey from 0 to 11 million in assets. So it's been quite the journey so far. I've been telling everybody on here, on Instagram and TikTok, that our goal is 100 million by the time we're 40.
Well, I'm glad that's out there.
So we got 89 million more to go.
11% of the way there.
Yep, and we got about 8 years to do it.
Yeah. So by the time what time?
40.
40. Okay, I thought that was just like forever.
No, in 40.
Okay, we got it.
8 years, no problem. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about. Again, ask any questions you have, but let's talk about our journey. I see a couple questions. Let's get into our first year. Our first year, 2014, was quite the gangbuster year. 2014, we bought 2 properties. Do you remember which ones they were?
We bought Saturn and Villadonna. So both single-family rentals.
Both single-family rentals, and we've done all this without using any of our own money, so I will get into that a little bit.
And we bought one off the MLS and one from a wholesaler.
Yep. What's up, BJ? How's it going, man? Appreciate you watching. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anita, yes, Lucas is drinking a Bud Light Select. I guess we lost all our advertising. Unless Budweiser.
Yeah, hey, give us a shout.
Yo, what's up, Brian? All right, get back to the banner. So 2014, we bought 2 houses. They were 2 rentals. We actually bought our first house with the thought that we were going to, when we got started, I thought we were going to have to buy 2 properties for every 1 rental.
Yeah.
We bought it to plan to fix it up and sell it and hopefully make 20 grand and put that 20 grand down on a rental.
Because you have to put 20% down on every rental you buy, right?
Yep, you do. That definitely. You have to. We're kidding. You don't have to put 20% down, which is we didn't know when we got started. So we just decided to go and take action. We did some research. We read a bunch of books. We had an LLC. I thought we were prepared, which I guess we were, but we bought that property thinking we were going to have to put 20% down on every rental we bought.
Yeah, and before we bought it, we did sat down and create an LLC and set out goals. They weren't super ambitious goals because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. So I think our goal was one house a year for the next 10 years. That's 10 houses. We own 117 now, and it's been 6 years. So we exceeded those goals a little bit.
And we've sold. So we probably bought 125. We sold several.
So rentals wise. So yeah. And we looked at probably 50 or 60 rentals before we were able to pull the trigger. So at the beginning, we did have a little bit of that analysis paralysis, but the important
he doesn't have that anymore.
No, the important thing is we pulled the trigger, and that one house really changed our lives.
Yeah, so let's just go over some quick numbers on it. So we bought it for I think about 78,000, close right around that. We bought for 78,000, and we put about 17 grand into it. So we had about $95,000 in the property of somebody else's money. We used a private lender for that deal. And initially we thought we were going to list it for like 129 and try and make 20 grand and put that down. But we learned about the Burr strategy. We met Brian through this process, and we learned that we could take it to a local bank and they would appraise it and give us 80% of appraised value. So we had 95 grand of somebody else's money in the property. We took it to a local bank. We got it rented for $1,200, $1,250. And It appraised for 125 grand. So the bank wrote us a check for 80% of that appraised value. So the rest of the check for 100 grand. What'd you do with the 100 grand check, Lucas?
Well, it's not like you can just pocket it, but we use that 100 grand to pay off our private lender. So that is enough to pay off the purchase price, the rehab cost, and plus the interest that we own that private lender. But good news is we got 25 grand of equity at the beginning. That was 2014. We had 25 grand of equity in that one house. And we did some research this past couple months, and that house is now worth $160,000. And our note balance that was 100 grand is now about 85 grand. So that one house gave us $75,000 worth of equity. So,
and couple, probably at least $2 grand cash flow every single year for the past 5 years.
Exactly.
So that one property has been close to $100,000. It's probably worth more like 165. But anyways, that's probably a $85,000 to $95,000 in our pocket or in the bank or in our net worth just on that one property. So imagine doing that 100 times, which we'll get to here in a second.
And a good way to think of it is every rental that you buy is going to give you 100 grand worth of profit one way or another over about a 10-year span.
That's how I always look at every single property we buy. I love that with the cash flow and the net worth gain with the property going up in value and the 10 paid note down. It's going to be 100 grand. So
and people wonder why I like to buy rentals.
You love to buy
right?
rentals.
It's so simple to me. It's so black and white.
Yep, it makes a ton of sense. All right, so how many properties do you own when you hired a property manager? So that's a great question. So when we got started, we actually hired out a property management right away because we each had full-time jobs. I was traveling a little bit, and Lucas was actually traveling a little bit too. So we each had full-time jobs, so we hired that out. But no one takes care of the properties like you will take care of your properties. I didn't feel like the property management company was taking care of our tenants and they were expensive. So we ended up taking that in-house. Luckily, we had a family friend that was in the business for a while as a property manager for apartment complexes. So we just went and had her work for us part-time, and she just took percentage of rent as we grew. So it worked out great. Now we have a big team that does it for us, but we were able to kind of grow. Our team was able to grow with us. So that was how that worked out. So that was worked out pretty great for us. So 2014, great questions. Keep the questions coming. If you're on YouTube, make sure to share this and comment. And then if you're on Facebook, definitely comment and share, and head over to our YouTube. And if you like Luke's Backsplash, give us a thumbs up on TikTok, or not TikTok. Goodness, I do TikTok sometimes.
Is this not TikTok?
This is a TikTok.
Okay.
Do a thumbs up on Facebook and YouTube. That would be great. We would appreciate it if you like Luke's Backsplash.
So learning lessons from 2014. I think the main thing that we took from our first year was, learning and executing the burst strategy. And there was a lot of bumps along the way because we probably talked to 25 bankers before we found one that would do our refinance, cash out refinance on the back end. But man, a lot of learning lessons executing that burst strategy just one time, and then every time after that just got smoother and smoother.
Yeah, I get pretty good kickback from people on TikTok about not being able to find a private lender or fund the deal or get the bank financing. So we had a family friend that was a private lender, but we've also worked to find other private lenders. Sometimes it takes 2 months to 6 months to 2 years to find a private lender, but it's well worth your time because of what they can do for you. And then we had 25 banks say no to us. So you just have to keep going, keep pushing through. Eventually somebody's going to say yes. You just can't give up. Ask any questions about real estate investing if you guys want to. All right, so 2014, 2 properties. Trajectory is still pretty flat so far. All right, let's see what about 2015. There's a little jump.
Little jump, yeah. And the main reason that jumped is because we bought an 8-unit in St. Charles, kind of where our office is.
Raptors just won.
Yeah, so we're watching the Boston Celtics Toronto Raptors game if we keep looking up. But it's overtime. It looks like the Raptors are going to pull away. So we're going to focus on you guys even more now. So our second year, we bought 9 doors. So 8 of those doors was an 8-unit apartment complex, and 1 was a single-family rental. We took over an 8-unit apartment complex, got a pretty good deal on it, but it was a mess. So taking over tenant-occupied properties was a whole new ball game for us, and it was extremely tough, especially
we weren't prepared, just like we weren't prepared to do any of this.
No, it was extremely tough, especially because they weren't the best tenants at all. So there was a lot of drug overdoses going on. I think someone passed away in one of ours. 2 people passed away in that building. But now it's amazing. And for a short period of time, there was our rental office too. We felt that safe to go there and have our office there. So that was a big learning lesson for us for sure.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and it kind of led us into the power of multifamilies, because in multifamily's value is based on the income that it brings in. So if you can create income by increasing rents fairly and decreasing expenses, That building we bought for $250,000 is worth $400,000 just 4 years later because we were able to add so much value. We tap into that value with cash out refinances and things like that.
Yeah, I think rents were like $495, like super low when we got there, and now we're renting them for $600-700. We did put a little money into it, but I would say maybe 30 or 40 grand. So
over the years, yeah.
So we built ourselves up over 100 grand of equity on that one property in about 3-4 years.
Yeah, so that was 2015, like we said, a small multifamily and then a single family.
Still full-time jobs, traveling all the time, going on my lunch breaks to look at properties and
for like
offers.
3 hours.
Yeah, I took some long lunch breaks. I can't believe I didn't get fired sooner from that job, but actually I didn't get fired period from that job.
No, they were surprised when you left.
Yes, yeah, so whatever. They were awesome. Shout out to Farnsworth. But so a lot of learning lessons, still just grinding our butts off.
Not probably producing much cash because we didn't have our system.
No, we weren't making any money. I was broke as hell in 2015 still. So
now you have a hood range.
Now I have a backsplash.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. Well, that was 2015. So let's jump over to our next year. Before I do, going to tell you at the bottom there, go to if you want some free training on stuff that we give away for free, go to freerentalwebinar.com. Ask your questions, but I'll let that scroll at the bottom while we answer a couple questions. So Nathan Bailey, what's up, dude? How landlord friendly is Mo, and how to research other states? Missouri is definitely very landlord friendly. The tenants definitely have rights here as well, obviously, but it's very landlord friendly. Just because you can, the taxes are pretty good and the laws are benefit landlords for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think this is exactly what you're asking, but it's a great cash flow market as far as St. Louis go, and I think Kansas City is pretty similar. So I just know the bigger markets in St. Louis, and we only invest in anything that's 30 minutes from our office. So to do research on other states, I would just get plugged in with investors around the country and just start asking questions with them. I'm not exactly sure what other state you're looking for, but we like Missouri for investment properties, and if you need some, we can help you find some, Nathan.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're just logging on, we're talking about how Luke's and I have gone from 0 to 11 million in assets in 5-ish years. Ty So Fly, what was the reason the first 25 banks denied you guys? Well, first off, I'll let you answer this too. We're going to the wrong banks. We didn't know. We were like Bank of America, Commerce Banks. You have to go to small local portfolio lending banks is what you have to do. So we were going to the wrong banks, and we just had no experience. We had never done a deal before. We both had good job with decent credit, but back then the market 14 was still coming back. It wasn't, it was slightly going up because 2012 was really kind of the bottom of the real estate market here, at least here in St. Louis. So it was just barely coming back. So that was the reason. I guess there was no other reason than just the wrong banks and not saying the right thing.
Yeah, the wrong banks is key. There's not, there's a handful of banks in each market that do this type of lending. It's a portfolio loan that they do not sell off to the secondary market. They keep it in-house. They lend their own money. And it's a commercial loan. It's a cash out refinance. So we were going to the regional banks and national banks, and they didn't even understand what we were talking about.
We didn't understand what we were talking about.
So once we found the right banks, it still took a lot of time to get them to take us seriously. And initially we were emailing and trying to ask for what we wanted on email. And then we switched to calling, try to ask for what we wanted to call. And when those two didn't work, we just decided, hey, can I have an appointment? Can I come meet with you? And then we developed a little business plan, sat down in front of the first banker we sat down in front of and presented our plan. He accepted in person. So that's what it took for us to get him.
Great question. All right, we're jumping to 2016. I saw a few people just hop on. We were talking about growing your rental portfolio. Luke and I went from 0 to 11 million, or Lewis. Your name, same in Lewis. Lewis and I went
my name.
From I had control of the actual keyboard, obviously. So we went from 0 to $11 million in real estate in the past 5-ish years, and now we're helping other people do the same.
Yeah.
So 2016.
So we added 10 properties. So at this point, at the end of 2016, we're up to, what is that, about 20 doors, 21 doors?
Something along those lines, yep.
And those were all single family rentals, and still had a full-time job. And my goal was to quit my job and jump in full time to real estate as soon as possible. So what we started doing in 2016 pretty heavily was rehabbing and reselling.
Yeah.
So we probably did more rehabs than rentals.
I think we probably had like 12 or 13. I think
Yeah.
we did about 23, 24 properties that year.
So yeah, and we weren't great at it. I think we made like 70 or 80 grand that year from like 10 properties.
I think we lost like 30 grand on 1 or 2 deals. So
Yeah.
that kind of hurt us.
It does hurt. So 2016 was a year of figuring out our systems. And seeing if we could rehab for a living, which turned out to be
what we ended up. Well,
yeah.
We didn't do very good at it, but that's what we do now.
Yeah.
So learning lessons from that year is we still didn't have our systems and processes in place. Really, we didn't know how much money we were making on each rental. Our tax returns were a nightmare.
Yeah.
My buddy Danny did them for us, and we just at the end of every year, actually probably midway through the next year, we had to get extensions, and we had to go back and go through all our bank statements and figure out. So we were not organized. So after this year, we started to get a little more organized each year, but at this point, it's probably our high point of not being organized.
Yeah, and it was a struggle and it was a fight, but the end of the day, we still added 10 rentals that year, which is a pretty good number for us and for anybody.
Yep, for sure. So that was where we were, just in let's grow as quick as we can, and we'll figure out the rest of it.
Yep.
All right. So any questions you have, feel free to ask them. We would love to chat about real estate and answer your questions, provide as much value as we can. All right. So I can get a little traction, Walls. I see what's going to happen in 2018, and
don't spoil it.
well, I'm not going to spoil it, Lucas. I'm just called foreshadowing.
Okay.
More than 2017, put it that way.
You have a flair for the dramatics.
Oh, just so much so. All right. So 2017, we had 16 properties. So we're definitely starting to really make things happen. And next year, also, another spoiler alert, I'll just tell them, you quit your job. You quit your job this year.
This year, yeah, into 2017. So 16 properties. So all of that were single family rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So we got plugged in with local real estate groups, local real estate companies around the market, and started building relationships with wholesalers and finding off-market deals. And I couldn't pass any of them up, obviously, or we couldn't pass them up.
Brick houses, beer, and something else.
Yep, we'll talk about that one later. We were still flipping pretty heavily too. I think we did like 6 or 7. I guess that's not super heavy, but we did some rehabs as well this year. But we stacked on some properties, and we felt some growing pains this year, pretty heavy. I think this was the year we had some trouble refining out of a couple that we bought that we didn't need any work. So learning lessons from this is, always put a little work into your rentals, even if they're occupied, to be able to burr out on the back end. And then meet that appraiser at the property. I was like, hey, here, go meet the tenant, and willy-nilly. And then my appraisal.
He was willy-nilly.
Yeah. Our appraisal on 3 properties came in $7 grand lower than
So
what
21 grand total. Remember I called you or texted you? What did I say?
Yeah, we're like, oh, we're done. We're out of business.
We're done doing real estate. Well, it's fun while it lasted.
So we got creative, and a couple of properties we bought in 2014, we had some equity. So we tied some of those losses to that. Thank goodness. Sold a couple. So we got lucky, and we just kept grinding and got through it. But it was a tough time, dark time at the beginning of 2017.
Yep. And we'll get to some questions. Also, the biggest thing here, Lucas said it earlier, was we got plugged into the local real estate investing community. When I talk to people on here and on TikTok and on Instagram, I always tell them, go to your local real estate meetups and join the local real estate investing Facebook groups. Walls, you making me thirsty. There you go. I like it.
Get you a drink, BJ.
At what points did you guys feel like you actually had your stuff together? Not even. Yeah, I'm kidding. Probably
middle of 2019.
Yeah.
So probably like a year and a half
for
ago.
our rental portfolio.
Yeah.
For a rental portfolio, yeah, I'd say a year and a half ago for sure. So it takes. Howdy from Dutside. What's up, Yahtzee? You crazy Hoosier. All right, so let's get back into 2000. This is the big reveal.
Well, 2017. Let me add a couple things, right?
You add 2 things.
So at the end of this year, I jumped full time in real estate, and we were flipping again pretty heavy at the time. But
that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and our goal with that was to save up enough money to put down an apartment complex. I remember that, and because at this point I was running out my lunch breaks and making 100% owner financing offers on like $2-3 million deals. And I got one to say yes, and I brought it to the bank. He's like, "You're crazy, man," because we needed like a $50,000 bridge loan or something.
They're like,
"No way." He's like, "You have to have some money in this deal." I'm like, "No, I don't."
Yeah, they're like, "You have to have some skin in the game." Like, why?
Well, we don't do business with them anymore, so or at all ever. They never took that. But so that's why we were flipping to be able to take down a big multifamily. And at the end of this year, I went full-time into real estate, which was a huge turning point. So, I got this big fancy engineering degree, and I just left it completely. But it was a giant leap of faith, but I think it's paying dividends.
Oh, it is for sure. And you'll see next year when I hit this button about what we did in 2018, I went full-time beginning in 2018, like March timeframe. So when Luke and I were both full-time and focused, we bought 60 properties. So that was a big year. These are just rentals. We also did flipping and rehabbing and, started or partnered with somebody in a house buying company. But as far as our rental portfolio goes, 60 properties.
Yeah, I honestly think it was 66. It was an awesome year for us. So what we did this year,
we try to be conservative with our numbers, but I think it was 66.
What we did this year is we got two big chunks. And one was a package of single-family houses, of 27 houses we got from a local wholesaler. And those of you listening, or you either know that packages aren't the greatest deal, or you will, because there's not that many great packages out there. They're usually pretty junk, but we found a good one. And if you find that good one, you got to be able to jump on it. So we jumped on a package of 27 single-family houses. Not only did we put $0 out of pocket, but we put 20 grand cash in our pocket and 700 grand of equity without lifting a finger and touching the houses. So we bought them at a great discount, used a hard money loan to finance the purchase, and then took those after a 3-month seasoning period to a local bank. They appraised them, refinanced them, gave us 75% of what they're worth, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, that was huge. I know I said, if this works out, we're going to write a book about it. We did. We wrote a book about it, but yeah, it's crazy. How much that jump started the rest of everything. We were both full-time at that point when we bought that. We were, in the industry full-time, and we also came across another deal. We started this one in 2017, but we ended up closing on a 32-unit apartment building this year. So that's why 27, 32, 60, or 59. So we definitely bought more. So it's mid-60s, but we were just trying to be conservative when we put this together.
Yeah, so we took down a 32-unit apartment building later, mid to late 2018, and it was a huge jump starter for us too. We took this down with some money out of pocket. I think we put about 80 grand into it, but it was a $1.1 million deal.
And a big chunk of that was seller credit. We got like or was that?
Yeah, we had some really cool terms where we were able to buy it for 80 grand out of pocket, which sounds like a lot, but we've been flipping for 2 years to trying to get up enough profit to put down on that. And our banker made us put 20% down. So the rest of the down payment, we reached out to our friends and family, really private lenders, to go in on this deal. So it was me, Sam, and Sam's dad, and one of our Sam's dad's buddies that wanted a nice return. We went in on this deal together, bought it for 1.1. Lots of learning lessons with that. Took over some bad tenants.
We don't have enough time to talk about those learning lessons.
No, we don't. But long story short is it just appraised for 1.6 million. So we created $500,000 worth of equity, which is crazy to say.
In 2 years?
Yeah, in 2 years. And we got an awesome tenant base in there now, and that property is cash flowing hard for us.
We did some big things this year. Really started to get some traction in our flipping company, and then also in our rental portfolio. Let's answer some questions. We're here to answer questions. Lucas got a beer or a fridge full of beer.
I do. There's so many beers in there. I don't know what to do with them.
I think you know what to do with them. All right. So I live in New York. I'm 19 years old, and the properties here are super expensive. Tips on what I should do. First, what you should do is definitely make sure to get involved in your local real estate investing community. They definitely in New York has some of your Facebook groups and your local meetups. But yeah, I don't know a ton about New York. I do know a lot of people that invested in New York invest like right outside New York. I talked to someone who does rentals in Long Island a couple weeks ago. So I know there's pockets that you can do it in. I understand downtown New York's probably too expensive and too competitive, but it can be done, and you can wholesale, or you can do flips or something like that, more expensive markets. But having cash flowing rentals is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, and I would just you're super young, man, which is great that educating yourself.
All right. Okay. Let's keep chatting. So, anyways, all right. So that answered that question. Let's keep answering question. I don't know. It said the mic was muted for a second, so I apologize if that happened. So, Yahtzee. When did you first add some office help? So, we about.
It kind of goes with
Go ahead.
Brian's question earlier. Is when did you get your shit together? I think was his question, or something along those lines.
Something like that.
We said,
drinking.
We said, about a year and a half ago. That's when we hired office help, Yates. Her name's Courtney, and she pretty much changed our entire business by keeping us organized, paying bills, tenant communication. So I think that's the first real main hire that everybody should look into if you're to that point, is some type of real executive assistant or office manager.
For sure. Someday I want to be as fast as you guys. Thanks, Dusty.
The
sound is going out. Let me know if the sound's back on. I think we should be good. For some reason, said the mic was muted. Somebody else logged on. I don't know who it was. But anyways, yeah, I think we're good. So, and Dusty likes beer. Good for you, Dusty. All righty. So we are in 2018, where we just bought 60 properties. It was a hell of a year. Lucas had been full-time in real estate for a few months, and I had been for about a half a year. So we did a lot in 2018, and in 2019 we'll show you definitely added rentals, but we focused a lot on our active income, which was our flipping company, Faster House.
We focused a lot on active income for us personally, but then as far as the rental, easy on the table there. As far as the rental business goes, we focused on stabilization, getting our property management systems in place. Go ahead and click 2019. Sam.
I'll do it, Lucas. Lewis.
So we had a goal for one a month. We just wanted to add 12 rentals. We ended up buying 13 single-family rentals, but our goal was stabilization and cash reserves, because we didn't know if we were even cash flowing at this point. At the end of 2018, our books were such a mess that we didn't know if we're making money or losing money. So 2019, that all changed. We got organized, got our books together, and figured out that we were actually making a little money on our rentals.
Nice to see you, because we were just growing so fast, and every dollar we made in the rentals, we'd stick into try to put down payment here or something like that there. So we were definitely didn't know if we were making money, but we ended up getting organized and find out that we did. So, and then like I said, this was a year we focused a lot on our flipping company, but we're still able to add a door a month.
Yep.
So what about 2020? How's 2020 going so far, Walls?
Yeah, so 2020 is good. I think our goal was 12 rentals again. It was to get to 120 doors, and we're going to do that. We're under contract on our 118th door right now, so we'll definitely add 2 more by the end of the year, maybe even a few more. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, like maybe a apartment complex.
So it's gone great. We just stuck to our bread and butter, one rental at a time. We haven't came across any great packages that fit our model. Otherwise, we would have taken them down, because we're prepped and ready, because we spent 2019 preparing to be able to take something awesome down.
What else did we do in 2020, Lucas? Anything we're breaking ground on soon?
Oh yeah, are you talking about the storage units?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you tell them about it.
So we bought a storage facility. It is an existing storage facility with a lot next to it. It is, I think, like maybe 4 acres total.
Yeah, two 2-acre parcels.
So it has 66 units on it, which is awesome, but it has a bunch of open land on it as well. So we are going to take those 66 units and spruce them up and add about another 100.
Yeah, exactly. Another 50, covered storage units, and then 50 parking lot spaces.
Boat and RV storage too. Yeah. So we're going to do a little storage facility development. The cool thing about that was we bought that property, and there's no other properties like it. A small storage complex with an open land. We bought it for $360,000. What did it appraise for?
And the day before we closed on the property, or 3 days, the appraisal came back. And I'm holding my breath.
Hope it's for 360.
Yeah.
I hope it's for 360.
And it came back at 750 grand. So 400 grand of equity as it sits without lifting a finger. We got a pretty big construction project, as Sam said, going on there now. I think we're putting in about 300 grand, and we spent 50 of it so far. So we got a little bit to go, but and we think when this project is done, it's going to be worth about that $1.3 million range.
Yeah, I think it should be that, or maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, and the cool thing about how we bought this property was we bought it with zero money out of pocket again, and we're going to burr this thing out. But we used a private lender for the down payment, 20% down on the purchase price and the rehab cost. So local bank is funding the rehab cost as well. So 360 purchase, 300 rehab, and we put 20% of down with the private lender. When we're done, I said it's going to be worth about 1.2, 1.3. We'll take out 75, 80% of that, pay off the private lender, pay off the first note, probably pocket a couple $100 grand, and be cash flowing $3-4 grand a month.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great deal for us. So
yeah.
that's going to be a fun one. We like to obviously we always like to grow and improve ourselves in our businesses. So I can see us doing some more development stuff like that in the future.
It's a fun project, no doubt.
It is a fun project. Let's get to some questions. So we got more to talk about, but we'll gladly answer as many questions as you guys have. What is the fixing them up like? What does it consist of? So it just consists of a rehab. So we like to have our rehabs between probably like, I don't know, we can do it for less, but probably $10,000 to $25,000 for our rental properties. We don't want to do a complete gut. If I'm putting 60 grand into something in our market, I probably just want to sell it and get out of the dang thing. But we like to do quick turn and burn so we can have the short-term money that we're borrowing to buy and fix up the property, get in and out of that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, fixing them up is a pretty generic term, and it just depends on the house. We're buying a tenant-occupied rental from Dusty Sanders, is actually on here right now. At the end of the month.
He likes beer.
And he likes beer, so do I. And all that one needs is a panel. That's how good a shape that is. So that is fixing them up, is put an electric panel in. Whereas another house that we're buying needs about 40 grand. So fixing them up could be $1,500 to 40 grand.
We'll get it done for 35.
Okay,
I think my budget was 25. That'd be good.
Hopefully we do that.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what that consists of. So any question you guys have about real estate investing, let us know. So wow, 120. Yeah, we've done quite a bit, but if we could do it, anyone could do it. I promise. Especially if you have a good partner to bounce things off of and pull you up when you're down, and vice versa. It makes a big difference for sure. Get to the banners. All right. Anything else you got? Anything else you want to tell these?
Yeah. So what's next for us? See, we kind of sit down and planned our goals maybe at the beginning of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those have changed already. As far as our long-term goals, our 2020 goal is still the same. So you mentioned earlier 100 million in assets by 40.
I'm telling everybody that's what we're doing.
That's awesome, man. That'd be ridiculous.
Well, we got to do it. I'm telling people we're going to do it.
Perfect. We'll do it. And what are some other goals? What's next for us? You said maybe some development.
Yeah, I could see some development. I know you want to get into syndication a little bit, which is raising funds to take down big deals. So we do that a little bit, and then just growing our flipping business, which you kind of run, and me helping growing our education business. So
yeah, I think 2021, there'll be some good deals pop up, and I think our goal in 2021 is 150. To get to 150. So add another 30. And that's probably just, single family homes and maybe come across a good multifamily.
Yep, for sure. All right. Another question. Keep them coming. How much down payment should you do on a rental property? Should I do a 15? All right. So I answered that a little bit. So you don't have to put, I guess, is he from New York?
Yeah.
All right. So you're from New York. So you might have to put 20% down up there, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about using other people's money. Private lenders or hard money lenders utilize the Burr method to use other people's money to purchase and fix up, take to a local bank, refinance it, get your money back, and pay that lender back.
Yeah, everybody's got something to leverage. With us, we could leverage our skill sets and our time and some sweat equity, but we didn't have money to leverage. But there's people out there that have money but don't have the time to invest in real estate.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but now I get it.
And those are the people that put 20% down on investment property, like doctors or lawyers or people that make a lot of money that really don't want to get too much into the weeds. But we like to be in the weeds. This is our life.
Yep, for sure. And then as far as cash, as far as AMs, it depends what you want. We go as high amortization, as long terms as we can to get the most cash flow possible. But if some people want to pay it off quicker and be done, then do the shorter AM. So we do the longer AM as long as possible.
Yeah, and we get 25 years when it's a commercial loan in our LLC name, and you can get up to 30 years fixed if it's in your personal name.
Yeah, for sure. Where's the next one we'll get to? There it is. All right. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 8:30 again. We're going to start doing this 8:30 Central Time, and we'll talk all things real estate again. We're going to talk rehabbing next week. See you then.
See you guys.